I'm 14 years old and my father tells me to shoot our dog. Her name's Lucy. She's blind in one eye, and when she walks, she makes this tap, tap sound as she limps around the linoleum floor. My father tells me to do it like it's an afterthought, something on his absent-minded to-do list that he's just remembered to delegate to me. He tells me while we're in the garage, clearing out boxes so my mom has space for some of her art pieces. Not that she sold any yet. My father's pretty pissed that he's been asked to do the cleaning, so he's dragged me in with him. He thinks her sculptures look like little pieces of turd. Cow turd, he says, pointing at a sculpture with a cigarette. It's clumped with the others to go on display in our garage. I think they're kind of nice. We're going through some old boxes, deciding what we should keep and what we should give to Goodwill. My dad brings it up when we're sifting through an old box full of my mother's videotapes. He tells me, I think it's about time we got around to shooting that old bitch. He says this as he holds the old yellow videotape in his hand, the catalyst that set him off. It feels like my windpipe has cemented itself closed. All I can feel is a weight in my stomach. Character building, he says. This is what turns you from a boy to a man. Then he tosses it into the box, abandons our project, and legs me inside. He goes into the den, and when he comes out, he's rubbing the gun with his shirt. First, my father chambers the shell, then he takes a cigarette out of his mouth, checks the safety, and shows me how to aim, using my mother in the kitchen as a fake target. Her back is turned to us. She's wearing a pale green dress with a white daisy print. I can hear her hands moving through plates and cups, and the gentle roar of the tap. Like this, he says. Then, she'll never know it's coming. He steps behind me and places the gun into my hands. He positions my right hand on the stock of the gun and my other hand on the forearm. He wraps my fingers tightly around his body. My arms strain under its weight as my heart bounces into my ear. A sour taste sits on my tongue, a stale and dry feeling that cements itself to the roof of my mouth. My father positions his head level with mine and then places my finger on the trigger. Bang, he says. She's dead. My mother turns on the tap and reaches for the dish rag. She moves it slowly around the outside of the sink, wrings it out, and places it above the faucet. My father grabs me by my sleeve and nudges me into the backyard. When I look back into the house from the back door, he's grabbing his radio and a bottle of beer. I hear the creaking swing of the front door opening and noises of him settling down on the porch. I take a deep breath. I put the shotgun on the ground and crawl on my knees to stick my head into Lucy's doghouse. She's sleeping, so I slowly push my hand up to her face and massage the top of her head. I'm not sure whether she still likes it. Then again, it's been hard to tell anything with her lately. Last night she threw up something yellow and then ate it back up. Circle of life, my dad said, although I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to call it. Lucy wakes up and lets out a stringy yawn. I move out of the doghouse, pick up the shotgun, and let her stretch out her front legs. I think about doing it there. Lucy pokes her head out and her tongue flops out like a pink, wet carpet. Her drool pools in the grass, and a string of it gets caught in the wind and extends, as if it's hoping to catch on a tree or a limb to make its great Spider-Man escape out of Lucy's mouth. I look at her and pat her head. I decide to let Lucy out the gate, and we walk for a bit down the path that leads into the backwoods. A horsefly lands on Lucy's snout, but she just keeps walking while it feeds. I swallow the lump in my throat down. The way she looks makes me think of a time before she looked so old. I guess it's kind of funny how pets will suddenly look ancient. It never seems like a gradual thing. But then again, maybe that's just me.